Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker Lois Coffey. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Hey guys, all right. You know what time it is when I say those words. This is Coach Lois. I am the host of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, and it's Friday, and we have another amazing guest here today. If you're tuning in live, it's Friday, May 27th, and I am a sales trainer, podcast host who I just passed, Michelle, 200 episodes. So now we're rounding the corner into what I call the third lap of the track. We're going towards 300, and I'm super excited and so grateful for you guys that are tuning in live. If you are tuning in live, wherever you're catching us, please make sure you join my Facebook group and Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. And then of course we do have also the YouTube subscriber world. So I just want to say hi to everybody, and we're super excited. I have a friend from Minnesota here today, and I know we don't think we've ever met. I feel like we have, but I'm pretty sure we haven't. We just have such a great connection, and that's actually what we're going to talk about today. So Michelle is a personality consultant, and she actually, we're going to talk about how personalities and how to read people and how to work with people to understand, first of all, since this is mostly, a community of people who are selling, why do people buy? However, since our whole life is about relationships, we're going to talk about how you can really understand better your family, your friends, and of course, your community and the prospects that you find along the way. So, Michelle, I'm so excited to have you here today. I'd love for you to share your story and why you do what you do.
Yes. And I have to congratulate you. I did see that it was your 200th show yesterday. And I was like, I wanted to be 200. But I've been watching you for a number of years. And I just have to tell you, they always say that you never know who's watching you. And I don't know that I've been that vocal, but I've been watching you since the inception and so inspired and impressed with what you are doing in the world. It's really impressive. So congratulations. And thank you for having me here. I'm so stoked.
I'm super excited as well. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to what unfolds through our conversation, because we've talked deeply about a lot of things. So I hope you guys are ready out there.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, in answer to your question, I am an entrepreneur, as you are. And, throughout my selling career, prior to starting my own company, I used to be a regional sales manager and managed big branch offices. And we're responsible for a budget. And, but once I started my own company, more so, the stakes are really high about whether or not you get a piece of business or not. The stakes are really high because there's no salary coming in and there's no paid, insurance and the IRAs and all of that. So the stakes are super, super high. And I could see in my own business that there would be times that I would go, and I have a digital agency. And so in my digital agency, I would have experiences from time to time where I would go make a sales call. And I'd get hired on the spot. And sometimes it'd be a $10,000, $15,000 sale. And they're like, we like you. You're passionate. We believe in you. What's it going to cost? And and boom, there you go. And I would walk away and I go, now, if only that happened every single time I made a sales call. But it didn't. And what happened more frequently is you go and you do that presentation and then you submit your proposal. And then what do you get ghosted. Or you circle back and you circle back and you circle back and you're like, well, what happened? Well, something happened. And then you're left with the confusion. Like, well, how come I got that one sale, but then this one didn't close? Like, you right? And so I came across just the book title, Why They Buy. And it was so compelling to me. And I'm like, yeah, riddle me that. Why is it that some people say yes to me in my offer, while others say no? So I devoured that book like in one sitting, like I couldn't put it down. And in there it reveals the 4 personality types, which we have all heard about. However, personality science with a twist, and it's personality science reverse engineered. So I ask everyone to listen with a fresh set of ears because we've heard of 4 personality types from many other places. But why they buy, Sherry Tree asked the question, well, if there are 4 personality types, I wonder, would they make buying decisions differently? And the answer is yes. Yes, they do. So we sit there, Lois, as marketers, and we're working on our marketing material or we're working on our sales pitch. And I say that oftentimes we just only think from our own perspective. And oftentimes we end up with a one-size-fits-all sales presentation. We go, that messaging is so good. But if there are 4 different personality types, would it not make more sense to speak the language of your prospect? So I read the book. My jaw dropped at the first personality type. I saw all the times that I turned people off and I didn't get the business. I saw my previous love relationships and why they didn't work out and why we really frustrated the heck out of one another. And by the time I got to the last personality type, I cried because it was a personality type that's the last part of my code. And all the times that I judged that person and all that they were, their big crime was that they were different than me. I had so much remorse on my heart and I cried and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are all just trying to do the best that they can, but we're different and we have a different set of values that's hidden underneath the hood, so to speak. So that's how I came to it.
Wow, that's amazing. And I've seen Cherry, and I know there's a lot of people talking about the bank code and breaking the code. Do you want to talk a little bit about the different personality types? Would that be a good next progression?
Yeah. It's really, really good because as you and I, one of our deeper conversations and what I appreciate you about is your so boldness coming out with your mother wound issues. And let's just be real. I think all of us are wounded. We're on planet Earth, okay, for crying out loud.
It's true.
Everybody's got something, like whether you admit it or not, we all have something. And so we share a mother wound. And at another time, I will tell you how I used this methodology to crack the code of my mother after she died. And it liberated me. And I stared at the cards and I saw my whole life with this person. And I fell in love with her after she died. So I encourage people like, who do you want to understand better, and do it while they're still here? Your mother, your children, your friends, your family. And if you're in business, you're going to make more money. I closed business that I used to lose. So a lot of it. Okay. So shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So bank, the bank code, bank is an acronym where the B and the A and the N and the K stand for personality type. And Sherry named it bank because it's like, take it to the bank. You will make more money. You will have better communication with people. You will have better connection with people when you get who they are. And so let me just preface it by saying our system is so simple. It's 2 parts. The first step is you have to understand who's on the other side of the table from you, on the other side of the Zoom camera or wherever you are. Who's your audience? Step 1, know their bank code. And then step 2, know what to do about it. And so that's what I do in my business is I help people with those 2 steps. Okay. Let's get to it. The B in bank stands for blueprint. It's the blueprint personality. And you're going to and this was my nemesis. Okay. And so part of what I like to relieve people of is sometimes when we lose a sale or we find somebody that's so different from us, we might judge them. And I judged this person. I was like nitpicker, control freak inside my head. And once I understood the values, all that judgment goes away. Blueprint personality, we give it the name blueprint because if you've ever seen a blueprint, like when you're building a house, or I deal with a lot of HVAC contractors, it's a document and it's very, very specific, as is this personality. A very specific person, and they're very, very precise in their thinking, right? And so you need to recognize that they value precision. They value one of the values on this card. There's 12 of them, which I go to even in the intro in a little bit more depth. But they value precision and stability, right? And we give them the color blue because an energy level, they can feel a little cooler in their disposition, a little bit more reserved. It's a personality type that's a little bit more conservative, right? So when we go, and some people want to go for the one call close, this is a one call close. You're going to be hitting what we call a tripwire. Triggers that lead to a yes. Tripwires, it's like you stepping in the doo-doo with someone, right? It's offensive to them, right? It's really, really offensive to them. So they'll take you longer to win them over. But the blue stands for credibility, loyalty, and trust. They're very, very loyal buyers. So if you do win them over, it could be a client of yours for life.
Wow.
You're not going to rush it, right?
I love that.
Yep. So they're more conservative in nature. They're more risk adverse. They're very, very risk adverse. So you have to take your time in your proposal and step it out, right? And this is where I failed every day of the week, because this is could be considered an opposite to my personality type. They don't care about your passion. They don't care about your energy level. They don't care about, like some people think, like they have to really bring all the energy. No, not with this one. Tamp it down. Step it out. Give them what they value. Speak their language. Okay?
Awesome.
We're scratching the surface here. And my mother, by the way, was a blueprint personality. Okay? Now, when we go to the A in Bank, we give this is the action personality, and it denotes an energy level. So the action personality is you. And you can tell an action personality because they're usually up to something. They're usually creating something. They're usually moving forward. They're usually having a podcast, a Facebook, a coaching program, right? Awesome. And so you exemplify the action personality where you have a high energy level, and this personality is more goal oriented. Whereas this is, I'm not moving forward till I feel safe. The action now is like, I'm moving forward to my goal. And if I make a mistake, so be it, rolls off the back of your neck. Now I know what doesn't work. Okay? 2 different personality types right off the bat.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And so this personality is just motivated by other things. They like to compete. They like to win. They tend to like challenges. Obstacles are just something to take care of. You're going to go over it, around it, underneath it. It's just an obstacle. Get out of my way, because I'm going where I need to go. Right? And so the color red represents an energy level, like a higher energy level. It also represents somebody that, if this is your client, they really like the red carpet. So where this person wants to go, hey, slow down, Missy, and I want to know your credential, and it's a very, very thorough thing. Yeah. This person wants to know, do you know people that I need to know, right? Can you, if you have a VIP offer or something special, you're going to offer it to this person. This could be a one call close, and oftentimes is, because, right? But if you're a blueprint personality selling to this person, I had this program called Winning at the Kitchen Table, and I explained to this group that tended to be not this was the last part of their code. And I go, do not become an obstacle to the sales, because they're going to step over you, right? And some of the people were saying, well, I went out on the sales call and it was just like someone just like stole the presentation from me. What should I do? And I go, let them. You're talking to an action personality. They're gonna take the drivers. They're gonna take the wheel. Let them, because they'll give it back. Let them take you, because they know they want what they want when they want it. If you're slowing them down with data or processes or things they don't want, they're going to steamroll over you. So there's a good and a dark side to each personality type.
We do have a question. Is it too early? Is this going to interrupt your flow? Do you want to finish?
Love it. I love it. Yeah.
So
Christina,
go ahead.
Everybody's got a 4-part code. So yes, the first part of your code is going to be who you are naturally. The second part of the code is really, really important in the sales process. So I have a client, he was blueprint first, action second. Now he told me, no, I'm not going to do business with you, but I know his bank code. So I knew how to overcome that, because he gave me a hard no, but he's action second. So I spoke to him in this, and that's what I teach. So this can feel a little bit like, stop, I'm not going anywhere till you give me what you want. Then you give them what they want, and then they can move forward. but they might stop again and they might move forward again. That's why you need to know the full code. So I love that question. Yes, yes, yes. Now, would it surprise you that opposites attract? And so in the world, right? In the world, these two people meet, they date, they marry, and then if you're selling to a couple at the kitchen table and one of them is blueprint and one of them is an action, you hit confusion because one of them wants to go and you're like, oh, I'm going to get the sale. And the other one is like, not so fast. And you're like, oh, no, yes, no, yes, no. And it feels that way. So you need to speak to the values of each of those codes, and they're different night and day. I'm going kind of quick, but you know where to find me.
That was a great question.
Yeah, it was a fantastic question. And so to Christina too, this was opposites attract. My mother's a blueprint. I'm an action. I mean, we had an ordeal in our lifetime. That's all I'm going to say. And it resolved in peace. All right. The N in the BANKCODE methodology, the N is just a completely different set of buying principles and a completely different set. There's 12 values on here. So we give this, N stands for nurturing. And this is the person that really puts people before profits. There's a genuine care about people, and the connection with people is more important than the business. You will find these people in business, and sometimes they're so interested in sharing their whatever they have that they forget about the sale because they really, really like the connection, right? But when you're selling to the nurturing personality, and we like to say that every one of these personality types has a ripple effect. If you win business with a blueprint, they have a ripple effect. Other people that trust them because, oh, if so-and-so made that safe decision, that must be safe, right? The action is out there in the world like you are, and you have a network, and you give people the microphone and so on and so forth. But the biggest ripple effect is really with this person, the nurturing personality. They tend to have a very, very big circle of influence because they genuinely care about people. So nurturing is the name for this part of the code, and it's the color yellow because you're just going to think like a heart of gold. These are some of the sweetest, nicest, genuine people. And when you look at what they find valuable, it's teamwork, and it's the connection is so important. And so when you go to sell with them, like in the HVAC industry, a lot of these guys run around with an iPad and they go into, and then they're on the iPad. And so I'm like, I don't know, you might want to put, if you have technology as part of your sales presentation, you might want to consider putting it aside when you're speaking with the nurturing person, because they need to connect with you. They'll make their decision from intuition. It feels good. It doesn't feel good. I've heard nurturing people say that they bought something just because they just really wanted to help that person, or it just really, really felt good. If you're selling to a team and there's a nurturing person on the team and something's not right, they think you're a wolf in sheep's clothing, they'll feel it. And they may not be able to articulate it, but if they're part of the team, they're going to be, there's something not right there. And they know it, but they might not always articulate it. Very intuitive because they're in feel. More so than a blueprint is in their mind. An action makes decisions from instinct, from gut feeling. I'm going to go for it. Intuition feels good, doesn't feel good.
Okay.
Are you being real, and are you genuinely connecting with that person? Are you trying to close a sale? Not good if you're going for the sale when they really want to connect. Yeah?
Yeah. Awesome.
It's so good, right? And then K in our methodology stands for the knowledge personality. We give this the color of green. All you have to do is just think about your Excel spreadsheet and all the data, and all the number crunching and the organization of data. You can drill down to specific data, but have the big picture. This is your knowledge personality. And this is what we consider to be maybe one of the more difficult closing situations. And the biggest mistake that people make is they try and close this personality, and that's not going to work. I mean, nobody really likes to be closed, but this personality will close themselves if you do the right things. So they're very, very bright people. They're very, very smart. Logic rules the day. You can't make vague statements that can't be proven. You have to connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
And they tend to be big picture thinking. So oftentimes when I'm dealing with this person, they have the capability of standing back and looking at the big picture and what is the impact going to be in 5 or 10 years, as well as drilling down to some really, really big, details as well. And so it can exhaust and exasperate people. This is the one that most salespeople will throw their hands up in the air and go, I give up. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a situation with a friend of mine that called me up and she's like, I'm going to wring this guy's neck. She was like getting angry about it. And so I asked her some questions and I said, you know what you need to do? I said, you need to widen way back and drop your judgment because you're going to turn them off, right? You really, really will. I said, there's a fear associated with each code, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to make sense to him. And so instead of you trying to close the sale, give him the information he needs to close himself. That's your strategy. So would it surprise you in the world, opposites attract?
Mm-hmm.
We see this in marriages all the time. This person feels and is so nurturing and nice. And this person was like, oh, you're so warm and friendly, right? And they meet and they date and they marry. But one of them is totally in their mind, logically, and the other one is really in their heart. And so they can run into some conflicts in their marriage. And I like what you said earlier. It's like we are known as a sales tool. Forbes calls us the future of sales, but people say it saved my marriage.
Yeah.
It helped me with my child.
Mm.
People are solving all kinds of problems from the fact that what we're getting down to is what people value. And that's the beauty in the bank methodology is we're getting down to what people value. And values are so important to know because the values drive the behavior. The values drive the buying decision. The values. And so any conflict, anything, any unclosed sale, anything, all comes back to what do people value? And so do you know, we think of these as distinct languages. So you need to learn how in your business to speak the blueprint language to the blueprint person.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really need to think about your offering and make sure that you have a way, like in my company, my offer doesn't change. My product doesn't change. My service doesn't change. My results that I deliver, none of that changes. The only thing that changes is I know who I'm speaking to and I just speak their language. So to the person that needs the process, I give them, this is how we're going to onboard you and I make it a safe decision. But I don't change anything about how I run my business. But I learn how to speak about it differently so I can win more business.
Yeah, I love that because so many people, and I see this as a sales coach, a lot of people do their best to have too many offers, too many solutions, trying to cater to all of the people all of the time. So I love how you're making that shift where they can be laser beam focused and serve the many just with one offer, one thing. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I do have a couple questions for you myself, and then I do want to get to Christina has another question. Thank you so much, Christina. So the first thought that I had that you made me kind of, I guess, just to get your thoughts on this, I teach that I don't teach one call closes myself. I personally think, especially if it's a higher ticket thing, you need to nurture and build the relationship, build the trust and rapport. And I always believe you're not just wanting to work with that person, but who they know, referrals. So that's the mindset that I teach and where I come from with permission-based marketing. I still say it does take 5 to 12 communications over a certain period of time. Would that also fit in with what you're talking about with the bank?
Yeah, totally. So you have, and I love that you do the permission based, that it's not like coming at you trying to, get the business, right? Yeah. And then what I love about the bank methodology is you can layer it over anything. So for an example, if you're somebody like yourself that has a big database, you could crack people's codes. So one of the things that's so good about the bank methodology is I'm able to offer a free gift, right? When you have this subscription, Well, every other place that you go, you have to pay every time you crack someone's code, right? You have to pay 30, 40, 50, $100 to, if you were going to use a different methodology, whereas in our methodology, no. So people have been known to take their email database and go, what is the code of this people? And would it make sense that if some people acknowledge people's birthdays or they have a certain thing going on, that I give a blueprint message to my blueprint people about how this process works. And for the action personality in my realm, do I give them the goal like this? Do I tell them the end result and this is how you go? Because the action personality is the one that's going to do business with you quickest, right? And then in our signature series of training, we teach how to craft a power script. And a power script is when you take your services and you craft a message carefully that addresses each one of the 4 personality codes. And that is something that you could layer. So you have a nice big database and you could power script your message so that everybody hears something that's meaningful to them.
I love that. I love that because I do teach email marketing and
Yeah.
list building and to be able to communicate in different ways. Everybody's different. That's why I have a podcast because I understand some people are auditory, right? Some people are visual, hence the live, the community here. We have some more people watching us on LinkedIn. Hey, Obida, I just want to say hello. I hope I said your name right. I apologize. I love my global family. Let's go to Christina's question as we start to wrap it up here, guys. This will be the last question from the audience. And this might be, I'm going to assume she probably will want to just take you up on your free gift today. But would you say there's some traits for each personality to be able to categorize them when talking to them? Do you have any additional thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. And these are so general. And so one of the things that I teach is to let people breathe within their code. Everybody's got 4 parts to their code. So we are not one to just stamp, oh, you're a boom, and you stamp somebody. So let people breathe. So I had to put that disclaimer first. But typically when I recognize that it's a blueprint, because I tend to be more energetic, I will tamp my energy down a little bit. And I'll ask some leading questions. And then I tend to tell them, they tend to be interested in how, right? So I'll tell them how things are going to work. When I'm with an action personality, I almost always, I can recognize them. And, if I didn't know you, I'd be, hey, Lois, where are you going? What's your goal? Because you know what it is. And then I go, how can I help you get there? That's it. What are you trying to do? How can I help you get there? Great. That's it. The nurturing person, you make sure that it's an authentic connection. And then the knowledge paper in my business, I didn't have a white paper. And when I got done reading the book earlier, I thought I have nothing in my company for the knowledge personality. So I'm like, oh, I guess I better write a white paper. So I wrote a white paper. I have it. And when I give it to somebody, I was speaking one time and I recognized that a knowledge person worked in the room. That's our class called speed coding, where you can just start looking at people and you go, oh, pretty darn sure he came into the room. I'm pretty darn sure he was a knowledge. Now, I'm speaking at the front of the room. People say, don't give your collateral out while you're speaking. Oh, no, to a knowledge person, yeah, you do. So he's sitting over there. I went and I grabbed my white paper. I walked across the front of the room. I flipped it around and I handed it to him. And it's an executive white paper. And he looked at it and I'll never forget it. I'm like, people really just want what they want. His eyes lit up and he looked up at me and he said, thank you. And I'm talking and he opened it up and his finger was doing this. He was reading it. And I know he was listening to me while he was reading it. And I gave him something that was so valuable to him. So in your business, look at your collateral. Do you have something for every personality code that will help them say yes to you? Such a good question. Thanks.
I love it. I love it. And I want to just say something. This is the last thing that I'll say. And then I do have one more question for you, Michelle, and I want to give some announcements. My thought as a sales trainer and someone who understands personality types, from other trainings, this is beautiful. I now understand the BANKCODE so much more, and it makes so much sense. I'm wondering, does it make sense for someone to niche and go after a particular industry target market or a particular personality code and work as much homogeneously as they can with that one code? Does that make sense?
I love your question. It's such strategic question from an action personality.
Well, and think about it.
Yeah.
There's riches in niches, and I am all about working smart. I used to be a workaholic. I gave it up, and I have never been happier, healthier, more magical in my life. And so I see a lot of people, again, they're going to want to break all these codes so they can work with more people. But I've also seen how, from my experience, that can also be painful, especially if you have a group coaching program. Okay. See where I'm going with this?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. In my company, I love your question because I had to do the same thing. So the beauty of the BANKCODE is you can get so fluent in your language skills that you speak the language of your client. And having said that, I like finding the action personality. So what ends up happening is like does really well with like. Lois and me, same personality code. Right? And we get to talk and we're like, it's just easy peasy, right? So for me, and then action personality is my matching code, and they're going to make a decision quicker. And they want to go. They love my passion. They love my excitement. They're like, we love you. We're going to go. And I'm like, yay, yay. Everybody's happy and off we go. I have to work harder on some of the other codes, but I've fallen in love with doing the business with the blueprint. It used to be my nemesis. I run into them now and I go, I know how to do this. So it's become a favorite too. So you get to decide, but in my business, especially for a newer company, I did look for the action type of people that have a goal and want to get there. And I'm like, great, I can help.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I know we could have a part 2. I am going over because you're so valuable to me, and this education has been great. And thank you. Thank you guys who are tuning in live. These are just some quick announcements and reminders before I get to the closing question for you, Michelle. Is if you want to be a part of the community where Michelle and all of my guests, including myself, are inside, please join me inside the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, obviously we're usually, not always, but usually streaming live on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can always go to healthyandwealthyandwise.com also to see the previous guests. And I also want to give a quick announcement. I have 2 spots left. 2 spots in my Magnetic Mind beta program. I'm going to be teaching you on how to live your best life, which is actually what this podcast is all about. I called this Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise because I really want you to have your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom with the knowledge of my guests and myself to not only survive, but thrive in your business and in your relationships and in your income and all of the things. And I got this Magnetic Mind certification, and it's all about recoding your superconscious so you magnetize your best results. Again, relationships, friendships, marriage, income, and health. And I'm here to tell you, I'm a living example, having used this work myself. I have not been happier, healthier, and in a more abundant, expectant place in all my relationships. They're a lot deeper, a lot richer, as well as with my finances. So I just want to share with you guys, if you're interested, shoot me an email at lois@loiscoffey.com, and I will drop the link in the show notes. And so you guys can maybe claim those last 2 spots. I'm taking 75% off, and it's going to be a 66-day container of me holding you through this process of realigning yourself with your higher purpose, your higher self. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about that. And actually, I almost forgot, Michelle, I was so engrossed in our conversation. I did not put your link, whytheybuyWednesday.com. So can you tell them, and then we'll get to the last question. Can you tell them about your free gift?
Yes. Go to whytheybuyWednesday.com. I put a red button right at the top just for you and your guests where they could go crack their code. And what they will get is their personality code. It's going to take them 90 seconds or less. They'll do it online, and then they're going to get their personality assessment that talks to them about who they are and how they present themselves in the world. And then join me next Wednesday where I'll talk a little bit more about how do you actually apply it. So that is the gift that I have to offer. Why They Buy Wednesday is an hour.
Okay, cool. I love it. So that's June 1st, next Wednesday.
Yeah, is that June 1st already?
Yeah.
Mm.
So guys, definitely please go to whytheybuyWednesday.com. And I know you can find Michelle inside of the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community, so you can connect with her and maybe learn more about how she can support you and serve you. And if you saw value in today's show, please hit the share button with your community. Sharing is caring, and you just never know how this message might impact and change the life of someone you care about. So last question for you, Michelle. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
When you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, what does that mean for you?
Mm-hmm. I knew this question was coming. I love this question, Lois, because I think that healthy and wealthy and wise, but I have it attached to you, is really about an awareness and about a deliberateness. And everybody wants to be healthy and wealthy and wise, but really in the world, things take us off of our center. Sometimes we're on the balance beam and then you're falling off to the left or you're falling off to the right. I think that you've been such a really good role model in being really vulnerable and honest about when you fall in one way or another, but you get back up on the balance beam to healthy and wealthy and wise. And so I know you're a great inspiration. So for me, it really speaks to the deliberateness and you just walking your talk, right? It's not always easy, right? Or things come up, but you stay really true and to that focus of healthy, wealthy, and wise. And it's a great reminder to me. We all want it and we all get pulled in different directions. So be deliberate about it. I love the name of your podcast, and I love how real you are about delivering all of these teachings. So lots and lots of gratitude to you, Ms. Lois.
Oh, you're so amazing. Well, gosh darn it. I'm just going to have you come back for another episode. Okay. And I promise it won't take 200 episodes. It'll be, it might be around the holidays. We'll talk about the mother wound around the holidays, because holidays and relationships can sometimes, get the best of us, right?
I have a topic from personal experience. It's called America's Dysfunction Comes Home for the Holidays. Family. It's a crazy shit show.
Oh my gosh.
Good Lord.
I love it. And on that note, we just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I just want to give a quick final reminders. Next Friday, I will not have a show. However, I have a show on Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I know it's a holiday in America, so some of you guys are like, what are you going to be talking about on Memorial Day? But it's actually a really special message. My husband is coming out of his proverbial closet. He is now known as the Ghost Whisperer, and he's been channeling dead ghost spirits who have been coming to him all through the pandemic. And even since before then, we've struggled in our marriage actually with that. We're going to talk about that struggle, how we finally figured out what was going on, and that he is a window for souls who could not pass into the light. And they kept coming to him. And there's always these whispers, right? These things that are inside of you guys that maybe annoy you or scare you or frustrate the hell out of you. There is something there, especially if it doesn't go away. And so we're gonna break open the Kofi household journey with that. And then also just how he's now doing commissioned paintings of past loved ones. And of course, gods and goddesses and all these different really cool things that most people would have never, ever imagined out of my husband. If you know him, he's an engineer. He's definitely one of those blueprint people. So I'm really excited to be sharing that with you. It's a very open, vulnerable conversation about our marriage and about our journey. And I hope you guys can tune in. It's going to be a very memorable Memorial Day episode right here in the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise community. So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Loved it. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Well, all right. Thank you for attending another amazing Healthy and Wealthy and Wise show. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, download, leave a review or a rating. And also, if you
felt like you could benefit from some help, maybe some magnetic mind support, maybe some lead generation and sales strategy, I would love to gift you a free month of my membership, or go to bookacallwithlois.com. That's right, www.bookacallwithlois.com. And if you haven't had a one-time free strategy session with me, that's my gift to you today for attending all the way to the end. Here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom.